Hi, it's Kate from the Sober School here with your weekly dose of help and inspiration. And I think that when we're worrying about our drinking and wondering whether or not to quit, it's only natural that we put a lot of focus on exactly how much we're drinking and whether it's okay. I bet at some point you've compared your drinking to other people you know, or perhaps you've tried to track your drinking so you can work out if it's normal or not. I know I definitely did these things anyway. Now, this approach would be fine if problem drinking was a very clear-cut, black and white issue, but it isn't. There are many shades of grey in between. And when it comes to deciding what you should do about your drinking, I think it is much more helpful to focus on how alcohol is making you feel. And here's why. First of all, focusing on how much can lead to a false sense of security. In the year leading up to me quitting drinking, I was obsessed with reading sober memoirs. And it wasn't because I wanted to be inspired by their stories or pick up any tips. It was more that I wanted to reassure myself that I wasn't drinking as much as they were, and therefore I must be fine. So even though alcohol was making me unhappy and it was negatively affecting my life, I was somehow able to overlook that and convince myself that everything was fine because I wasn't as bad as they were. That is what happens when you are focusing just on quantities. You are always able to find someone who's drinking more than you are. My second point is that how much we drink can vary a lot. Towards the end of my drinking career, sometimes I could be good for a whole week, and then sometimes I'd have a week of drinking every day. Sometimes I would drink 2 bottles of wine and feel terrible afterwards. Sometimes I've managed to stop after just 2 glasses, but I'd still feel the same level of regret and guilt and anxiety. It just wasn't as simple as saying, well, as long as I only have this much, I'll be fine. And I suspect it's the same for you too. My third point is that focusing on how much can keep us really stuck. When we're having these conversations about how much we drink and what's good and what's bad and what's normal, what we're really saying is that sobriety is just a last resort, that it's something you only even need to consider when things have got bad enough. And that's just nonsense. You don't need to be anywhere near rock bottom in order to decide that you're going to raise your standards. Quitting drinking should be no different from losing weight or tackling your finances. You don't have to wait until things have reached a certain point before deciding to take action. So I hope that explains why just focusing on how much you drink isn't always the best idea. If you're trying to decide whether or not you should quit, my advice is to concentrate on how alcohol is making you feel. And I want to leave you with a tip for getting really, really clear on that. I'm going to suggest that you start keeping a diary, just like you did as a teenager. Write in it every day and keep a record of how you're feeling when you're drinking. So exactly what are you feeling in the moment? And how are you feeling the next morning and the next afternoon? How are you dealing with life? And on the days that you don't drink, how do you feel then? How does your mood and mindset and energy compare? It's really important to actually write this down and see it in black and white, because when we keep this kind of information in our own heads, it's too easy to forget stuff or generalize or look back through rose-tinted glasses. When you have a proper record of this, then over time you will start to notice patterns and you will start to have evidence as to whether alcohol deserves a place in your one and only life. Because we only get one shot at this, so it's really important that you move forward with intention and do what makes you happy. You want to live a life that makes you feel good. Okay, so I'm Kate B, and wherever you're watching this, please scroll down and leave me a comment and let me know if this has resonated with you and what your feelings are about all of this. I hope you have a very happy and hangover-free week ahead.